Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. This time, we are looking at Logan's Run
Oh, cool.
and this really unique essay
Mm.
that analyzes the movie but also kind of reflects on it through the lens of the author's own personal experience as a trans woman.
Very cool.
So it's going to be a really interesting deep dive because we're going to be blending sci-fi with self-discovery.
That sounds great. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, I think there are going to be some thought-provoking things that come out of this.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
So what's really cool about this essay is how it takes these themes, like identity and authenticity, and views them through the lens of this classic dystopian film.
Yeah, exactly. And just to set the stage for people who maybe need a refresher or who haven't seen Logan's Run in a while, the movie basically depicts this futuristic society where everyone lives in this like seemingly utopian domed city. Everything's all about pleasure and indulgence. But there's a catch.
Right. So when you turn 30, you have to go through this ritual. It's called carousel, which basically...
Yes, not a birthday party.
It's not a birthday party. It's more like a forced expiration date, kind of disguised as a renewal.
Yeah. And our protagonist, Logan 5, he's what's called a Sandman. Basically like a cop whose job it is to make sure that nobody tries to escape carousel.
Right.
But then things get interesting
exactly.
because he starts developing doubts about the system that he's helping to uphold.
Yeah. And that's when he meets Jessica 6.
Mm-hmm.
So at first, he seeks her out for like a good time, let's say.
Right.
But their encounter really sparks this deep shift in his perspective, which causes him to question everything he thought he knew.
It's like that meeting just totally changes his whole trajectory. And what I think is so interesting about Jessica 6 is that she's not just a love interest. She's not a damsel in distress or anything like that. This essay makes a really strong case for how she's actually the driving force behind Logan's transformation.
Yeah.
She becomes like his guide,
Yeah.
his moral compass, pushing him to like question the limits of their world.
And to look beyond what's right in front of him.
Yeah, exactly. And to seek something more.
She's the one who introduces Logan to this idea of sanctuary, this legendary place outside the dome, where it's rumored people can live past the age of 30. And she uses a lot of symbolism to get her message across.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Ankh.
That's right.
This ancient Egyptian symbol.
I totally missed that when I first saw the movie.
I did too.
I mean, I saw the Ankh symbol, but I didn't really connect it to anything. But the essay does a really good job of explaining how the Ankh represents life and hope.
Yes.
And how Jessica using the symbol is like her own subtle way of rebelling against her society's fixation with death at 30.
It's all about looking beyond those limitations.
Right. It's like she's saying there's more to life than what they're being told.
Absolutely. And the essay also touches on how Jessica 6 could be seen as what the author calls an autistic coded character.
Okay, so I know some listeners might not be familiar with that term. Can you kind of break down what the author means by autistic coded?
Yeah.
And how it relates to Jessica 6?
Sure. It's important to remember that the author isn't actually diagnosing a fictional character with autism.
Right. But they're pointing out that she has certain traits that are often associated with autism, for example. She rejects all the superficiality and social rituals of the domed city. She really values genuine connection and finding truth.
Yeah, she doesn't really care about fitting in. She's more interested in figuring things out for herself.
Exactly.
Which is why she's drawn to the idea of sanctuary, this place where people are supposedly free to be themselves.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes her so appealing, both to Logan in the film and to the author of the essay. She embodies this search for authenticity, this refusal to conform to societal pressures.
It's like she's the symbol of resistance and a catalyst for change.
Absolutely.
Which brings us to this really mind-bending concept that the essay keeps coming back to, retrocausality.
Right.
Now, I gotta admit, when I first read that word, I was a little fuzzy on what it actually meant.
It's a heady concept, for sure.
Yeah.
So in the simplest terms, retrocausality is the idea that the future can influence the past.
Okay, wait.
Now, hold on. Before you think we're talking about time travel.
Yeah. It's not about literally changing events that have already happened.
Right.
It's more about how our present selves can reshape our understanding of the past.
So like those moments where something from your childhood suddenly makes sense in light of who you've become as an adult.
Exactly. Like you're looking back with a new perspective.
Yeah.
And seeing things you never noticed before.
Yeah, like those aha moments where it all clicks into place.
Exactly. And that's what's so fascinating about how the essay connects retrocausality to Jessica 6. The author describes Jessica as a proto-trans seed.
Okay, that's an interesting term. What exactly does that mean?
It basically means that Jessica Six, even though she's a fictional character, created long before the author even knew anything about gender identity,
Right.
resonated with them on a deep level,
Wow.
almost like a subconscious level.
So it's like something about Jessica Six spoke to the author's own experience, even though they didn't fully understand it at the time.
Exactly, like a seed that was planted, waiting for the right conditions to bloom.
That's such a powerful image. And it really speaks to this idea that our past experiences can have meanings that we don't fully grasp until later in life.
Absolutely. It's like looking back at an old photo album and noticing details you never saw before because you're seeing them through the lens of your current self.
Yeah, you're bringing a whole new perspective to the same experiences.
Exactly. And the essay argues that's where retrocausality comes in. It allows us to reinterpret our past, to see those proto-seeds that were always there, shaping our journeys in ways we couldn't have understood at the time.
So for the author, Jessica Six becomes this symbol of rebellion, of challenging societal norms, which aligns with their own experience of coming out as trans.
Right.
But what I find really intriguing is that this idea of retrocausality, of finding new meaning in past experiences, isn't limited to these kinds of personal journeys. I mean, haven't you ever rewatched a movie or reread a book from your childhood and been struck by how differently it hits you as an adult?
Oh, absolutely, all the time. And I think that speaks to the power of stories, of art in general, to hold these multiple layers of meaning. What might have seemed like a simple adventure story as a kid could suddenly reveal all these complex themes about social justice or personal growth when you revisit it with a more mature perspective.
Exactly. It's like the story itself hasn't changed, but you've changed. So you're seeing it through a different lens.
Right.
And that's what makes this essay so fascinating. It's not just about analyzing a character in a movie. It's about exploring how that character can become a reflection of our own evolving identities.
And it makes you wonder, what other proto-seeds are hidden in our past experiences, just waiting to be discovered? What books or movies or even real-life encounters might hold a whole new significance when we look back on them through the lens of who we are today?
That's such a cool question to think about. It's like we're constantly rewriting our own personal narratives.
Yeah.
As we gain new experiences and understanding.
And that's how we grow.
The essay even uses this beautiful metaphor, describing Jessica Six as the curve of my orbit.
Oh, I love that line.
Yeah.
It captures the essence of retrocausality so perfectly.
It really does.
Jessica Six, even though she's fictional, played a role in shaping the author's trajectory, just like a celestial body's gravitational pull can influence the path of another.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Logan's Run, even though the movie was made back in the 70s, it still feels so relevant today.
Definitely.
And the themes of societal control, conformity, the pressure to fit in, they resonate just as strongly now, if not more so than they did back then.
Yeah, you're right. It's like we're all living under some kind of invisible dome, pressure to follow this prescribed path.
Exactly. And in that context, Jessica Six's defiance, her refusal to accept those limitations, becomes even more inspiring.
She reminds us that it's okay to question the rules, to seek out alternative paths, to create our own destinies.
You know, the essay even mentions that the film deserves a reboot.
I think it does.
I agree. A modern take on Logan's Run, with its themes of societal control and the search for authenticity, I think it could be incredibly powerful.
Especially in today's world,
Yeah.
where we're so hyper-connected
Yeah.
and data-driven.
Yeah. The life clocks in the movie might be fictional, but the pressure to conform,
Yeah,
to achieve, to fit in,
Yeah.
that's something we all deal with.
for sure.
And in that sense, Jessica Six becomes this timeless symbol of resistance, a reminder that even when we feel this overwhelming pressure, we still have the power to choose a different path, to seek out our own version of sanctuary.
And it's not just about escaping the system, it's about transforming ourselves.
Yeah.
True freedom comes from becoming something new, something
Yeah.
more aligned with our authentic selves.
And that transformation, it can be a long and winding journey,
Oh, definitely.
full of twists and turns.
Absolutely.
The essay describes it so beautifully. It says, a reverberation of her step, each choice a constellation lit by her fire.
That's such a great line.
Yeah, it really captures the lasting impact that people who inspire us can have, even if we don't realize it at the time. So as we dive deeper into this idea of retrocausality, I think the key takeaway here is that our past experiences, even those seemingly insignificant moments, can hold a wealth of meaning.
It's all about revisiting those experiences
Right.
with a fresh perspective and seeing what insights we can glean
Yeah, it's amazing what we can learn about ourselves when we take the time to really reflect on our past.
Absolutely. And by understanding those proto-seeds, those moments that shaped us, we can gain a clearer understanding of who we are
Mm.
and who we want to become.
Yeah, it's all about connecting the dots between our past, present, and future and
Exactly.
seeing the bigger picture of how our experiences have shaped us into who we are today.
And who we're continuing to become.
Right.
Because it's an ongoing journey.
Yes.
There's growth and transformation.
Exactly.
And sometimes it takes looking back to really appreciate how far we've come
Yeah.
and to see the path ahead more clearly.
So I think that's a great place to pause for now. We'll pick up this conversation part 2 and delve even deeper into the concept of retrocausality and how it relates to the movie Logan's Run and our own lives.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
So it's not just about escaping, it's about creating our own sanctuary.
Yeah, that's a really interesting idea because in the movie, Sanctuary is this like mythical place outside the dome where people can supposedly live beyond 30. But the essay takes it a step further, suggesting that sanctuary can also be an internal state, a place of self-acceptance and authenticity.
Yeah, it's about finding that space within ourselves where we can let go of all the expectations and pressures of the outside world and just be who we truly are.
And that journey of self-discovery, it's not really about reaching some fixed destination.
It's about the process.
It's about becoming.
Exactly. It's about embracing the twists and turns, the challenges and transformations that shape us along the way.
And sometimes those transformations
Yeah.
can feel really overwhelming, even disruptive.
Yeah, for sure.
The essay talks about how the author's own journey of coming out as trans was like a flood of insights. It completely reshaped their understanding of the past.
Like everything they thought they knew about themselves was suddenly seen in a new light.
Exactly. Which can be exhilarating, but also kind of unsettling.
Definitely.
Because it's like challenging your whole sense of self. But the essay emphasizes the importance of self-compassion, of understanding and accepting our past selves, even if we made choices
Right.
that we wouldn't necessarily make today.
Right, because those choices, those experiences, they all contributed to who we are now.
And they can even serve as guideposts, helping us navigate the future with more clarity and purpose.
So even though this deep dive started with a sci-fi movie, it's really about so much more than that.
Yeah, it is. It's about the power of stories to shape our understanding of ourselves and the world. It's about finding reflections of our own journeys in unexpected places, like a character in a film.
Or a line from a poem.
Yeah.
Or even a conversation with a friend.
It's about recognizing that the past isn't fixed.
We can reinterpret and reframe our experiences as we evolve and grow.
And it's about having the courage to embrace our authentic selves, to challenge the norms that try to define us, and to create our own sanctuary, both within and around us.
That's a great way to put it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with this final thought.
What are the Jessica Sixes in your own life?
Yeah.
Who are the characters, the stories, the moments that have left an imprint on your soul, even if you didn't fully grasp their significance at the time?
Take some time to reflect on those proto-seeds and see what new insights might bloom. You might be surprised by what you discover about yourself and your own unique journey of becoming.
And until next time, keep diving deep, keep exploring, and keep embracing the transformative power of stories.
Yeah, it really does make you think about all those little things from our past that looking back might have had a much bigger impact than we thought at the time.
It's like how sometimes you watch a movie as a kid and you don't really get it, but then you watch it again as an adult and it's like a whole new experience. Totally. And that's kind of what this whole idea of sanctuary is all about.
Right. Because in the movie, it's this physical place, this hidden world outside the dome.
Yeah.
But the essay suggests that sanctuary can also be something internal.
Yeah, it's not just about escaping the system. It's about finding a place of peace and acceptance within ourselves.
So it's like a state of being.
Yeah.
Rather than a physical location.
It's about embracing who we are without judgment or fear.
And that journey of self-discovery. It's not always easy.
Definitely not.
The essay actually describes it as a flood of insights that can be both exhilarating and overwhelming.
It's like everything you thought you knew about yourself is suddenly up for grabs.
Which can be kind of scary.
Oh, for sure.
But it's also an opportunity
Exactly.
to break free from those old narratives
Yeah.
and create something new, something more authentic.
And I think the essay really emphasizes the importance of self-compassion during that process.
Yeah. It's about recognizing that our past selves made the best choices they could with the information they had at the time.
It's about not judging ourselves too harshly for the mistakes we made or the paths we took.
Because those experiences, even the ones we regret, they all played a role in shaping who we are today.
They made us stronger, more resilient.
And they can even teach us valuable lessons that we can carry with us into the future.
So yeah, even though we started this deep dive with a sci-fi movie, it's really about so much more than that.
It's about the power of stories to connect with us on a personal level and help us make sense of our own lives.
It's about finding meaning and inspiration in the most unexpected places.
And it's about the courage to embrace our true selves, even when it feels scary.
Especially when it feels scary.
Because that's where the real growth happens.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Logan's run and the concept of retrocausality, we want to leave you with this question.
What are the Jessica Sixes in your own life?
Yeah.
Who are the people or the stories that have had a profound impact on you, even if you didn't fully realize it at the time?
What are those proto-seeds that have shaped your journey and led you to where you are today?
Take some time to reflect on those experiences.
And see what new insights you can glean.
You might be surprised by what you discover.
And on that note, we'll leave you to continue exploring. Until next time, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.